20 years ago, mysterious spiritual gates appeared on the planet Blue Star. These gates unleashed wondrous spiritual energy and monstrous beasts in the human world, leading to a period known as the Age of Spiritual Calamity. From this chaos emerged spirit warriors, individuals awakened with supernatural powers by the leaking energy. Among them, the rarest and most powerful were the spatial spirit warriors. The first such warrior in Lingzhou, a man named Li Mingshan, used his spatial abilities to turn the tide against the beasts and bring peace to the world. This cemented the belief that spatial power is the strongest. 20 years after these events, Li Mingshan continues his role as a guardian. One day, he senses a ripple in space and immediately goes to inspect it. It turns out, in the Jiangcheng City Welfare Institution, a 16-year-old boy named Jin has become the second person in Lingzhou to awaken a spatial ability. The institution's director immediately sees an opportunity for publicity and arranges a press conference to showcase Jin. The director emphasizes his own role in the achievement and instructs Jin to demonstrate his power for the cameras. However, the display is underwhelming. Jin creates only a tiny, unstable portal, a far cry from the legendary feats of Li Mingshan. Just then, to everyone's shock, the legendary Li Mingshan himself appears there, drawn by the spatial ripple of Jin's awakening. The onlookers assume the Celestial has come to take on a disciple, a life-changing opportunity for the young man. They urge Jin to follow him, but Li Mingshan merely glances at Jin and departs without a word. The message is clear. Jin's talent is too insignificant for the great master's attention. The reporters lose interest, and the event ends in disappointment. Later, the system evaluation confirms his bleak prospects. Jin is labeled as an E-rank talent with a level cap of Dark Iron 1 star, the lowest possible rating. So he is discharged from the orphanage to make his own way in the world. Undeterred, Jin clings to his dream of becoming a powerful spirit warrior. To pay his tuition for the Jiangcheng Spiritual Warrior Academy, he takes on multiple jobs. By day, he delivers food, and by night, he runs a street vending stall in the bustling Jiangcheng night market. That evening, Jin secures his preferred spot in the Jiangcheng night market and enthusiastically begins selling his Red Delicious brand swimming trunks. He attracts a crowd by leveraging his unique status as a spatial power user and a student of the Spiritual Warrior Academy, even demonstrating the trunk's purported durability against spatial forces. However, his successful pitch is interrupted by an aggressive vendor who claims the spot is his. The man argues that he occupied the space the previous day, and the confrontation quickly turns physical. The vendor throws a punch, but Jin instinctively opens a small spatial portal, redirecting the blow back onto the aggressor. Seizing the opportunity, Jin inspects the man's merchandise and accuses him of selling counterfeits. His accusation is validated when a dissatisfied customer arrives with a faded swimsuit, demanding a refund. The aggressive vendor shifts the blame to Jin, and the customer insists that they all go to the management office. In trying to calm the situation, Jin accidentally causes the customer to fall and suffer a bloody nose. Enraged, the customer reveals himself as a beast-morphing spirit warrior, transforms into a bear, and starts brutally attacking Jin. During the beating, Jin reflects on his endless struggles before being thrown to the ground. A drop of his blood drips onto the vending cloth beneath him. This act triggers the emergence of the ultimate street vending system. A voice in his head announces that the system is activated and rewards his 3 years of vending experience with one free lucky draw. With the bear poised to strike again, Jin accepts. The lottery wheel lands on a consolation prize, a strength potion that grants a 10-fold physical boost for 3 days. A surge of power courses through him, and he stops the bear's punch mid-air, finishes the potion, and retaliates with a single punch that sends the beastman flying and cracks the ground. The onlookers cheer, impressed by his sudden strength. A now confident Jin approaches the defeated, naked man, lying in a crater, and magnanimously gives him a genuine trunk to demonstrate its quality. The humbled man, named Wu Lang, blushes and asks to be friends. Just as Jin turns to leave, Wu Lang shouts that he is losing his hair. Jin touches his head to find it completely bald. He flees home, horrified by his reflection. He summons the system again, which explains that the baldness is a side effect of the consolation prize. It then shows him superior, side effect-free items like the metamorphosing fruit, which can enhance his innate talents, but these require redeem points he does not have. The system encourages him to continue vending to earn them. Despite the humiliation, Jin feels a wave of hope. This system is a second chance to overcome his limitations. He steps out of his window, looking at a sign featuring Li Mingshan, and vows that everyone will soon know his name. Just then, a girl crashes through the sign, breaking it, and falls directly on top of him. A man named Alexander is running from a few officers. He is carrying a basket and a strange injection. To trick the officers, he throws the basket into the air. A snake comes out of the basket and immediately turns into a girl. Alexander throws the injection to this girl, Katerina, and she runs away with it while he fights the officers. This is the same girl, Katerina, who falls on Jin after crashing through the Li Mingshan sign. During the crash, the roof of Jin's room breaks, and the injection falls into one of the cartons below. Katerina sees this happen, but because officers are still chasing her, she runs away and leaves the injection behind. The ultimate street vending system, through its interface named Vendi, informs Jin that he has earned currency. The currency comes from the negative emotion of Katerina. Vendi explains that any frustration, anger, or annoyance directed at him becomes redeem points. The exchange is 1 point for 1 unit of emotion. For every 10,000 points he collects, he gets 1 draw in the system's lottery. This discovery shows him a clear, though morally questionable, way to gain power. Jin's biggest wish is for the metamorphosing fruit. This is a formal prize that can reform his meridians and improve his natural talents, finally letting him overcome his E-rank limits. The system notes that a formal prize is guaranteed only after every 100 draws. Jin quickly calculates that he needs 1 million points of negative emotion. This goal makes him look at his most available resource, his schoolmates at the Jiangcheng Spiritual Warrior Academy. All of them already hate him. He arrives at the school and immediately starts collecting points from all the hate he receives. He tells everyone he has become stronger and boasts about himself. Principal Wang, who still feels negative from past encounters, announces a surprise spiritual warrior test for all students. Jin sees this as the perfect opportunity. Before the test, he started a new business. He promotes himself as the delivery agent for the school cafeteria, which is run by Madame Zhou. He walks through the halls, taking meal orders with a boastful attitude. This already gathers points from his annoyed peers. During the test, he steps up to the testing machine. With 1 punch, he does not just get a high score, he completely breaks the machine. The show of raw power stuns everyone. It creates a huge wave of negative emotions from the principal and the students. Using the shock to his advantage, Jin starts another scheme. He claims his sudden strength comes from magical water from an ancient well in his hometown. He conveniently leaves out a key side effect, one he knows very well. He sells small glasses of this water from his vending machine to his eager schoolmates. They are desperate for any advantage. The result is immediate and causes widespread hair loss across the academy. Everyone starts to hate him even more, and he gets many more points for that. Meanwhile, Alexander has left Katerina in her snake form inside Jin's room. The plan is for her to wait there and attack Jin when he arrives. Alexander himself comes to the academy to confront Jin directly. Jin is organizing the lunchboxes for students who ordered through him. He has a huge kettle of soup by his side that he plans to give free to everyone who ordered. Alexander plans to poison Jin with a needle. He shoots the needle, but it accidentally hits the kettle and poisons the soup. Wu Lang, who also studies at the same school, arrives and helps Jin deliver the food. The poisoned soup from Madame Zhou's cafeteria, which Jin delivers, makes the entire student body and staff fall unconscious. To confirm it, the idiot Wu Lang tastes it and also falls unconscious. With the school in chaos, Jin turns to the system. He has finally collected enough points for the coveted 100 draws. The lottery results in a consolation prize, but it is exactly what he needs. The antidote soybean, a cure for all poisons. The system delivers a large quantity. Alexander confronts Jin. He demands that Jin hand over an unspecified item. A fierce battle begins. Alexander can absorb and redirect Jin's attacks. The fight becomes more intense and draws the attention of Principal Wang. The principal's intervention creates an opening. Jin uses his spatial power in a moment of desperation. He teleports Alexander into the sky above and throws him down. Jin gives the antidote to everyone, saving the school. He is hailed as a hero. The antidote beans come with the unfortunate side effect of causing severe diarrhea. The saved schoolmates end up pooping everywhere. Despite this, Jin uses the moment for a final publicity stunt. He gives an interview to the media. He proudly takes credit for solving the poisoning incident. He smoothly uses the platform to promote his 2 businesses, his meal delivery service and his stall at the Jiangcheng night market, where he is the exclusive agent for Red Delicious brand swim trunks. Meanwhile, we also see a mysterious organization reviewing the events, and their interest in the unusual student from Jiangcheng grows stronger. Jin enjoys his new local fame as the spatial spiritual warrior who saved his school from poisoning. This celebrity status and a little more hatred that comes with it help him reach the big milestone. He finally eats the long-awaited metamorphosing fruit, a formal prize from the ultimate street vending system. The fruit's effect is immediate and powerful. A surge of spiritual energy moves through his body, reforming his meridians and maximizing his innate talents. He feels himself changing into a true prodigy, which is very different from his old E-rank limits. However, the system's nature remains unpredictable. The consolation prizes from his 100 draws cause new problems. He gets a pack of 6 zodiac animal biscuits, each one filled with the power of a different Chinese zodiac sign. He also receives a very bright green hat. This hat has a strange feature. A small living bean seedling grows from its top. This accessory has an annoying side effect. It makes everyone who looks at Jin feel intense and irrational anger. It makes people want to punch him as soon as they see him. To celebrate his transformation, Jin goes to a hot pot restaurant with his friend Wu Lang. There, Wu Lang orders a huge amount of food. Jin has no money to pay, so he goes to call Madame Zhou to arrange payment. Before leaving, he gives Wu Lang the zodiac animal biscuits to eat. Wu Lang eats one biscuit and starts acting like a dog. He goes outside and pees on a car. Surprisingly, inside the car are Yingsu, who is Jin's childhood crush, and Xiao Yao, her best friend. They come inside the restaurant, and Jin finally meets Yingsu, a girl he knew from the orphanage over 12 years ago. Xiao Yao, a beast-morphing spiritual warrior, is immediately hostile toward Jin. The green hat and its irritating bean seedling make the situation even more uncomfortable. The hat draws negative attention from other people in the restaurant. Yingsu seems angry at Jin, especially about a promised meeting that he did not keep years earlier. When asked about Jin, Yingsu decides to leave the restaurant. She and Xiao Yao drive away in their car. Alexander arrives at the restaurant and confronts Jin. He demands that Jin hand over an unknown item. A fight starts, and Alexander uses spiritual binding handcuffs on both Jin and Wu Lang. Jin tries to deal with Alexander. He opens his spatial storage space and takes out all his cartons. He finally finds the burning blood injection that Alexander wants among his things. He hands it over to Alexander, but by doing this, Jin mentions Katarina's name. Alexander now thinks Jin is holding Katarina captive. He attacks them. In desperation, Jin lets Wu Lang eat another one of the zodiac animal biscuits. This biscuit gives Wu Lang temporary but overwhelming bull strength. This power allows them to escape from the restaurant. As they run, Wu Lang eats one biscuit after another. Each biscuit makes him transform into a different zodiac animal, which helps them run and escape from Alexander. But Alexander continues to chase them. Yingsu and Xiao Yao notice Jin riding on Wu Lang's back as he runs behind their car. Xiao Yao tells Yingsu to go and talk to him, so Yingsu stops the car, and Wu Lang jumps over it with Jin, and Alexander crashes into the car. The girls get out and see that Alexander is unconscious. They take him to the hospital, thinking he needs help. They also pick up the burning blood injection, thinking it might be his medicine. Xiao Yao goes to ask a doctor about the burning blood injection, thinking it could help the man. In the emergency room, she finds Wu Lang and Jin, where a doctor is cutting their handcuffs with a chainsaw. Once they are free, Jin sees Xiao Yao there and asks her about Yingsu. And as he goes to find her, Xiao Yao shows the doctor the burning blood injection. Seeing that injection, Wu Lang panics. He knows they are in danger now. Alexander wakes up and starts looking for the burning blood injection desperately. Jin finds Yingsu and tries to talk to her. Both of them say at the same time that they have something to tell each other, but just then, Alexander attacks them. Yingsu remembers a memory from their childhood. She remembers Jin telling her that he has got her back, but when she opens her eyes, she finds herself handcuffed to Jin in the back of a car. 10 years ago, during the spiritual calamity, many children became orphans. One of them was a young Jin. He was only 6 years old, but already dreamed of becoming a spiritual warrior. He often got into fights to protect other weaker children. He frequently took a beating himself. He found guidance in a book called 30 Skills to be a Spiritual Warrior. The book taught him that protecting the weak was a warrior's most important mission. This idea became his main motivation, even when no one thanked him for his efforts. On the other hand, Yingsu's childhood was full of loneliness and rejection. Her quiet personality and seemingly cold eyes made potential adoptive families decide against her. A teacher once gave her a special candy box and a lesson about hidden beauty under an icy shell. This taught Yingsu to build emotional walls to protect herself. She developed a habit of confronting the toughest person in every new place to establish her position. This cycle continued until she met Jin. He was the first person to stand up for her without being asked. He took a severe beating to defend her. This act broke through her emotional walls, and a deep bond formed between them. She started to rely on his protection, which became a constant in her life. This continued until the day her fire powers awakened and the Zhang family adopted her, separating them for 12 years. In the present, Jin and Yingsu remain trapped by the spiritual binding handcuffs. Jin struggles to find a way out when his ultimate street vending system reveals a new function. The system now allows him to use his accumulated stall fees as skill points. He immediately invests all his points into an unlocking skill, pushing it to the master level. However, the system's literal interpretation creates a new problem. It does not simply unlock the cuffs. Instead, it fills his mind with complete theoretical knowledge of lockpicking, leaving him to find a physical tool. Meanwhile, Wu Lang and Xiao Yao are desperately trying to find their friends. They realize Alexander took their car, so they use its GPS to track him to an abandoned warehouse. Back in the warehouse, Alexander threatens to kill Yingsu, but Jin tells him to kill him instead. They argue, and just as Alexander is about to use his chainsaw on Jin, Jin removes his green hat. The bean seedling has grown on his head. He removes the seedling and uses it to pick the lock on the handcuffs. But just as they leave the warehouse, Xiao Yao and Wu Lang arrive in their car. They crash into the warehouse and hit Alexander, slamming him into a wall. Soon, a fight begins between the four friends and Alexander. Wu Lang transforms into a bear and Xiao Yao into a dog. Yingsu uses her fire abilities, and Jin uses his spatial attacks. Still, Alexander proves too strong for them because he can absorb their attacks and then use them back against the group. Yingsu uses a powerful fire attack on Alexander. Alexander absorbs it and multiplies its power tenfold before attacking her with it. But in time, Jin moves in front of her to protect her. The fire hits him, but mysteriously does nothing. The system tells him that he is invincible when he is standing on his vending cloth. Alexander shouts at him, and Jin teleports Alexander high into the sky. Then Jin uses his 6 nuclear bomb drink. He dares Alexander to absorb its power. The resulting explosion is too much for Alexander's absorption capacity, finally defeating the powerful enemy. Jin tells Yingsu to witness the spectacle of a meteor shower. The explosion in the sky really causes a brilliant meteor shower. It turns out that years ago, before getting adopted, Yingsu told him to watch the meteor shower with her the next night. But Jin, trying very hard to awaken his spiritual powers, ends up brutally injured and misses it. That was the reason she was still angry, believing he did not come to meet her that day. Jin gets startled in his room when Katarina appears from a basket. She is visibly furious, and he recognizes her from their previous encounter. He considers a friendly greeting to ease the tension, but Katarina immediately demands the burning blood reagent from him. This demand confirms his suspicion that she and Alexander belong to the same organization. He realizes that while Alexander actively pursued him, Katarina chose a different strategy by waiting patiently for his return. Katarina threatens his life if he does not hand over the reagent. Jin attempts to de-escalate the situation by asserting they are on the same side. He inquires if her partner is named Alexander. He informs her that Alexander ensured the reagent would be passed to her. Katarina questions Alexander's whereabouts. Jin explains that Alexander is no longer available. She finds this impossible to believe, stating their mission is not complete. She speculates that Alexander might have been captured by an organization called Dark Knight. The mention of Dark Knight causes him concern because he knows this group only targets the most dangerous criminals. This revelation implies that he and Katarina are now considered threats. Jin fabricates a story, claiming that Alexander entrusted him with the safety of both Katarina and the reagent before his disappearance. Katarina is skeptical about why Alexander would choose him for this task. Jin boasts about his excellent character, academic achievements, and trustworthy appearance. He highlights his small businesses as the perfect cover, suggesting that no one would suspect strangers around him. He positions himself as the ideal person to smuggle her and the reagent out of Jiangcheng City. Jin instructs her to get inside her basket for concealment. She resists, asking for an explanation. He reminds her of Alexander's usual advice about staying low-key. He argues that her current presence is not discreet. He insists that entering the basket is the only way. He also hands the burning blood reagent to her for safekeeping. He declares that she will protect the reagent, and he will protect her. But a Dark Knight operative suddenly breaks into his house. Jin tries to stop them from fighting because he is worried about the damage to his landlord's property. He pleads for calm, but the conflict escalates. A hole is blown through his wall during the chaos. Jin falls on the burning blood injection, and it accidentally injects into his chest. He feels a sharp pain and discovers a wound on his body. He becomes disoriented and dizzy. He calls out to his system, desperate to use a lucky draw for help. He questions Vendi about his condition and is told his vital signs are normal, but there are some abnormalities. He decides to proceed with a draw, using his accumulated points. The system awards him a consolation prize, a vitality ginseng. The description claims it can restore health, cure all diseases, and boost energy. Jin makes a shake from it, but the taste is horrible. Almost immediately, he experiences a medical emergency, noticing blood in his stool. Remembering the advice to go to the hospital for such symptoms, he rushes out and hails a cab. The cab driver turns out to be a Dark Knight operative in disguise. The cab is part of a temporary medical facility set up by the organization. The operatives, led by Captain Luo, subject him to a thorough and uncomfortable examination. They ask him personal questions, which he answers with evasive or humorous responses. During the examination, they discover the burning blood reagent inside his body. Tests reveal a perfect fusion, changing his talent rating from E to SSS. The medical staff is astonished because this is the first known case of perfect fusion. Jin, feeling better, asks if he can leave. Instead, Captain Lei orders him taken to their base for further questioning. He is confused and frustrated by this treatment. The interrogation continues. Captain Lei demands to know his relationship with Celestial Li, the other spatial power user. Jin avoids giving a direct answer and turns the question back on her, asking about the nature of burning blood. Captain Lei explains that burning blood is an unfinished secret reagent developed by Dark Knight, stolen by Alexander, an assassin from the White Shark group. She reveals that Katarina is a rookie assassin from the same group, with no criminal record yet, but already on their wanted list with a bounty. Jin sees an opportunity and asks if he can claim the reward for capturing her. Captain Lei insists that he must return to the base for research purposes. Jin agrees but asks to handle something first. He teleports and returns to his room. He finds Katarina and explains the situation. He tells her about his interrogation and that Dark Knight is actively searching for her. He shows her the wanted poster with her face and the bounty. He advises her that leaving the city will be difficult. He suggests she hide inside her basket again. He gives her his phone to contact her group for backup. She contacts them and informs them that 10 men are on their way. He promises to create a diversion to help her escape. Just as she goes into the basket, he tapes it well. Jin teleports back to the Dark Knight van. He shows Captain Lei the basket and surprises her by claiming he has already captured Katarina. Captain Lei is skeptical, but her team confirms with X-ray vision that a beast-morphing power user is indeed hidden in Jin's spatial space. Jin proposes a plan to use Katarina as bait to capture the other incoming assassins. Captain Lei is hesitant, but a report confirms that 10 White Shark members are heading to Jiangcheng. Jin then asks for the reward money for Katarina's capture, and Captain Lei pays him. Later, he is lying back in his room. Katarina comes out of her basket and checks on him. He lies, saying the torture was harsh, but he revealed nothing. She tells him that they should leave because it is not safe there, but he informs her that the area is now safe, as Dark Knight has already searched it. He offers her some leftover food and suggests she change out of her conspicuous battlesuit into some clothes he has. Alone for a moment, Jin celebrates receiving the reward money. Just then, Xiao Yao approaches him, indicating she wants to talk. Jin feels it is not a good time, but she persists. Just then, having changed her clothes, Katarina comes out of the other room. Xiao Yao confronts Jin after seeing Katarina in his house. She demands an explanation about the mysterious girl's identity and their connection. Jin attempts to calm Xiao Yao by creating a false story. He claims Katarina is a wholesale buyer from Snowfield who placed a large order for his merchandise with a significant deposit. He insists that completing this business deal is very important for his future. He pleads for Xiao Yao's patience, promising to explain everything later. His explanation seems weak, and Xiao Yao's suspicion increases. Meanwhile, Jin forces Katarina to contact her team. Katarina receives a message from her organization. The message informs her that a team of 10 people from White Shark will meet her at the night market with no further details. At the night market, Jin tries to act normally while secretly waiting for more instructions. He buys food to keep Katarina occupied. Captain Lei keeps calling Jin's phone repeatedly for a progress report on his undercover mission. Xiao Yao also arrives at the market and continues asking Jin about Katarina and the mysterious person he keeps texting. Her persistent questions force Jin to invent more lies. He manages to send a vague reply to Captain Lei, gaining a small amount of time. Then, he he uses his spatial ability to teleport Xiao Yao onto a bus. He tells her to give him 2 hours, and he will answer all her questions. Katarina gets another message with instructions in their native dialect. The message is cryptic, simply telling her to find the turtle at the Jiangcheng night market. Jin struggles to understand the brief and vague directive. Katarina wants to eat more food, insists they leave immediately to follow the order. Their search leads them to a vendor selling live turtles. Katarina explains that ancient snowfield people used a specific turtle species from their region to pass secret messages by carving information on the shells. She reveals that vital intelligence is never kept on a single turtle. While they search through the tank, Xiao Yao arrives. Thinking Jin is having an affair with the girl, she kicks the turtles with carved information from their hands into the river. Jin tells Katarina to jump into the river and find the turtles, and she does so. To Xiao Yao, he explains that Katarina lost connection to her family 10 days ago, and he is helping her find them. He says the information is on the carved turtles. Xiao Yao believes this new lie. Seeing an opportunity, Jin tells Xiao Yao to transform into her dog form. He wants her to use her beast-morphing powers, specifically her enhanced sense of smell, to track Katarina's family. On the other hand, he extracts a promise from Katarina to keep her assassin identity a secret from Xiao Yao for now. Xiao Yao, in her dog form, tries to follow the scent from Katarina's hands of the turtle shell. The trail leads them to a food stall, and Katarina starts ordering and eating more food. Jin is interrupted by another insistent call from Captain Lei. Jin steps away to answer, making Xiao Yao more suspicious that he is involved with another woman. Her anger peaks, and she storms off to investigate on her own. Desperate for a solution, Jin turns to the ultimate street vending system. He uses his points to draw a prize. He obtains a lucky cherry that can grant him luck for 30 minutes, a pudding that can change his appearance for 30 minutes, and a golden durian that instantly restores the user's spiritual power to full capacity. However, cutting the golden durian causes an earth-shattering explosion with massive shockwaves and an unimaginable stench. He sets a timer and eats the lucky cherry, which immediately grants him 30 minutes of extreme good luck. His luck skyrockets. He quickly stumbles upon the entire White Shark team, 7 assassins gathered at a deserted aquatic products market. He sends his live location to Luo, but just then, the 30 minutes pass, and his good luck ends. Vendi informs him that the lucky cherry has a severe drawback. Its effect is followed by 3 hours of intense bad luck. The backlash begins instantly. He sees Xiao Yao in her dog form, bound by ropes. The men from White Shark are about to cut her with a chainsaw. They witness Jin and immediately attack him. He opens spatial portals and keeps dodging. During the fight, his phone is sent out of the warehouse into the river. Captain Lei and her team arrive, but keep searching the river for those men. Jin unbinds Xiao Yao, and they both keep escaping. During the chaos, Jin's bad luck causes him to accidentally draw out the golden durian and crack it. This results in a huge explosion and the collapse of the warehouse on the assassins, effectively neutralizing them. Captain Lei and her team arrive there, and he tells them the men of White Shark are in the warehouse. They arrest them. They are surprised that he acted alone and accomplished this. After the operation, Xiao Yao questions Jin about his deception and asks if he is working for Dark Knight. He admits he lied to keep her from rushing into a dangerous situation, claiming he wanted to protect her. This confession slightly softens her stance. She then tries to discuss a serious matter concerning Yingsu. Meanwhile, a news report reveals that Yingsu's grandfather, the head of the Zhang family, is gravely ill. Yingsu is forced to take control of the family enterprise, which is under aggressive acquisition by the Luotian group. A flashback shows a young Jin getting into trouble for placing a salted fish in a bully's drawer. Yingsu then physically confronted the bully for his constant harassment. Both children were punished by the principal. Jin explained to Yingsu that he used a sneaky tactic because the bullies only acted when authority figures were absent. He believed that dealing with people who played dirty sometimes required similar methods. He said that when Yingsu hit the bully, her physical violence made them the ones in the wrong. She thanked him for always being by her side during trouble, a recurring theme in their relationship. In the present, Jin and Katarina stand in front of the Luotian group building. Inside, Yingsu meets the Luotian group's representative for the negotiations, Tian Shan. The previous night, Xiao Yao informed Jin about the situation. She told him that with her grandfather ill, all responsibility fell on Yingsu. Yingsu was going to negotiate with Tian Shan, a man known for his unwelcome advances toward her. Xiao Yao said she had a plan. She wanted Jin to use his power to take her with him to infiltrate the Luotian building to ensure Yingsu's safety during the meeting. Jin agreed to meet Xiao Yao at the station but had his own intentions. Jin decides to act alone, believing a direct assault would be disastrous. In the present, he calls Xiao Yao and tells her to wait. He proceeds with Katarina. He uses a clever trick to gain entry into the heavily secured Luotian building by offering their services as a temporary kitchen worker. The head chef tries to lure Katarina, and she knocks him out. Jin tells Katarina that he brought her here so she could enjoy the meal, and she begins eating. Just then, they hear someone coming. He pleads with Katarina to transform into a snake and hide inside a kettle. They do this just in time as Tianshan enters. He asks for his head chef, and Jin lies, saying the chef left because his wife was in labor and that he is the replacement. Tianshan asks what is in the kettle, and Katarina, in her snake form, comes out. Jin makes another lie, saying it is a special ingredient. Tianshan orders a specific, sinister dish called twin slugs, intended for Yingsu. The dish is designed to have a manipulative effect on the consumer. Tianshan also tells Jin to give his staff the food already prepared. Before leaving the kitchen, Jin gives one slug to Katarina, who puts it into the drink of the boss of the Luotian group. Inside the meeting room, Tianxiang tries to enforce his agenda of combining both the Luo and Zhong families through a marriage with Yingsu. During this, Jin enters with the dishes. He serves Yingsu, her favorite one. Though, surprised to see him, she immediately tastes it. He then serves the live slug to Tianshan, who tries to eat it but gets it stuck in his mouth. Jin gives him water but adds diarrhea-causing beans to it. Tianshan drinks it and then starts pooping, releasing gas, and leaves the room, embarrassed. Yingsu asks him why he is here, and he says he just happened to be. She remarks that he always plays dirty with someone who plays dirty. He tells her to recall what he told her when they were young, that he would always be there for her, no matter what. He reveals his purpose is to gather evidence against the Luotian group. Their investigation leads them to discover a secret meeting between Liu Bei, the patriarch of the Luo family, and members of the notorious Rakshasa gang. Hidden, they learn the takeover is not just business, but a criminal operation involving blackmail and intimidation. They also find the second twin slug is in Liu Bei's wine bottle, and he is drinking it. Jin tells Yingsu to take photos for proof, but she does so with her shutter sound on, and they are captured. Meanwhile, Tianshan goes to the toilet and then goes to fire Jin. Just as he enters the kitchen, he sees Katarina in her snake form, causing havoc and eating everything. She immediately attacks him. Liu Bei has bound Jin and Yingsu in his lightning quintuple chains, and they struggle to break free. The men from Rakshasa tell him to kill them. In a desperate move, Jin plays on Liu Bei's emotions by mentioning his son, Tianshan. He says Tianshan will betray him if he kills the girl he wants to negotiate with. Just then, Liu Bei hears Tianshan crying. It turns out Katarina, now grown into a huge snake and drunk after having alcohol, has wrapped her body around him and is smashing him around. She enters from one wall and crashes through another, tearing it apart. A chaotic chase ensues through the building, with Liu Bei desperately following the snake, which is drunk and causing havoc with his son. Jin and Yingsu, now free, also trail behind, along with members of Rakshasa. Soon, Katarina bursts through the roof of the building with his son. Liu Bei throws lightning at her to save his son, but in time, Jin puts her in a pot. The lightning is about to hit his son, but Liu Bei jumps in front of him and gets hit instead. Tianshan lands with his roasted father, and the Rakshasa men surround Jin and Yingsu. Tianshan reveals his ruthless plan to eliminate Yingsu and stage her death as an accident. Surprisingly, using his spatial powers, Jin opens multiple portals with cameras and journalists behind them to secure footage of Tianshan's intentions and his plans with the Rakshasa group. He is exposed. The aftermath is reported on the news. The Luotian group's acquisition bid collapses, and a formal investigation into their activities begins. Jin and Yingsu share a quiet meal. He encourages her not to bear heavy burdens alone in the future and to rely on him. Jin continues to use Katarina as bait to lure members of the White Shark organization one by one. He coordinates with Dark Knight to have these assassins arrested. For each person captured, Dark Knight pays Jin a reward of 100,000 yuan. This arrangement provides him with a steady income for his efforts. One evening, Jin sits with Katarina at his vending spot. She is busy eating and offers him a piece of her food. Captain Lei informs him that the mission involving Katarina is now cancelled. White Shark has declared Katarina a traitor, placing her in serious danger. Captain Lei suggests that the safest option is for Dark Knight to take Katarina into protective custody. She believes this is the only way to guarantee her safety from the threats of her former organization. Meanwhile, Katerina expresses a desire to eat river snail rice noodles from a favorite stall in an alley. However, the stall has already closed for the day, so they plan to go tomorrow. Jin decides against handing Katerina over to Dark Knight. He does not want her to go under their protection. He tells her to skip the night market and try a different meal somewhere else. Just then, Wu Lang arrives. He asks Katerina if they can be friends. Wu Lang insists on joining them for dinner and even offers to pay. He suggests eating hot, spicy pot at a new restaurant near his home. He mentions that he has already shown Katerina's photo to his mother, but her love for food makes her agree to go with him. Members of Dark Knight arrive at the location, but Jin quickly takes Katerina and Wu Lang into a car and they drive away. Dark Knight vehicles follow them. Wu Lang drives the car while continuing his friendly but awkward questions. He asks Katerina about her zodiac sign and birthday. He is surprised to learn she has never celebrated a birthday or even knows what one is. Wu Lang becomes determined to give Katerina her first birthday celebration. Captain Lei keeps calling Jin's phone, but he declines the calls repeatedly. The Dark Knight cars continue to pursue them. Jin forces Wu Lang to take a quick turn toward the seaside, allowing them to avoid the following vehicles. Jin explains that this seaside location is suitable for a simple and discreet celebration. Wu Lang is unhappy with the lack of a proper cake or candles. Jin then reveals he has a temporary solution. He leads a basic singing of Happy Birthday for Katerina. He presents a pudding as a substitute for a birthday cake. Wu Lang tells Katerina to make a wish, but she does not understand the concept. Jin explains that a wish is a hope for something wonderful to happen. So Katerina makes a wish to be with them, and they all eat the pudding together. To make up for the absence of fireworks, Wu Lang takes 2 signal flares from his car. He launches one into the sky, creating a bright light that looks like fireworks. Katerina is fascinated by the display. However, the flare also acts as a signal, revealing their location to their pursuers. Jin quickly realizes the danger and urges everyone back into the car. Back in the car, Jin admits to Katerina that he has been lying to her about some things. He confesses his deception but asks for one final opportunity to make things right. He promises to help her escape Jiangcheng City and avoid both White Shark and Dark Knight. Wu Lang feels embarrassed by Jin's confession but agrees to assist. The birthday pudding they ate contained a shape-shifting agent that lasts for 30 minutes. This substance allows Jin to take on Katerina's biometric data. He uses it to transform Katerina's appearance into an exact copy of himself and his own appearance into Katerina's. So his plan is to act as a decoy while Katerina gets away. Soon, a helicopter from Dark Knight intercepts them. They stop, and from inside the car, Wu Lang and Jin emerge. It turns out the real Katerina is already at the railway station and is about to leave the city on a train. Katerina receives a delivery arranged by Jin. The package contains a note with clear instructions. The note tells her to stay calm, travel south, and avoid Snowfield completely. It emphasizes that she should not return and includes a lighthearted reminder to pay for her meals, indicating that Wu Lang and Jin will miss her. Back with Jin and Wu Lang, who are now detained, Wu Lang asks how the transformation was possible. Jin explains that the pudding had a transformation agent that required Katerina's biometric data, which was obtained when she ate it. Wu Lang expresses sadness that he did not get a proper goodbye with Katerina. The Jiangcheng night market is busy with its usual crowd. At a stall serving authentic northeastern China skewers, a man named Tarkovsky sits patiently. He is a senior assassin from the White Shark organization, known for his perfect mission completion rate. His current mission involves seizing the burning blood reagent and coordinating with partners hidden in Jiangcheng. He watches Jin closely from another stall. Jin is on a call with Captain Lei from the Dark Knight organization. She expresses high suspicion about his activities. Captain Lei insists that Jin return to Dark Knight headquarters for close monitoring. She warns him against any more tricks and arranges for an agent named Raptor to pick him up the next morning. Tarkovsky believes that every powerful individual has a weakness. Through careful observation, he plans to exploit Jin's critical flaws for a decisive victory. Tarkovsky decides to offer something irresistible to lure him into a trap. He sets his plan in motion. He purchases skewers and has them sent to Jin's table. He claims Jin resembles a long-lost elementary school classmate. Along with the food, he gives Jin a coupon for a free stay at a hot spring inn in Snow Country, including 3 meals. The coupon is for single use only and expires soon. Jin feels suspicious about receiving random gifts, believing it often means trouble. However, the offer of a free vacation appeals to his frugal nature. Jin decides to use the coupon and organizes a trip to Snow Country. He invites Yingsu, Wu Lang, and Xiao Yao to join him. He fails to mention that the coupon is only for one person. They travel to Snow Country, a remote region covered in snow and dense forests, with very few people. Tarkovsky, along with hundreds of his men, is already waiting for Jin there, thinking it is a perfect place for an ambush. Upon arrival, they discover the Hot Spring Inn does not exist. The location is barren, with terrible roads that cause car trouble. Jin's friends express their frustration, but they decide to make the best of the situation by camping. Wu Lang and Xiao Yao gather supplies from the car to set up camp, while Jin and Yingsu take a walk in the snow. During their walk, they reminisce about their childhood in the orphanage. They recalled how Yingsu would sneak out in the snow, and Jin would follow her. Tarkovsky and his men continue tracking them, hidden in the snow. The men are desperate to attack, but Tarkovsky, thinking himself too intelligent, keeps telling them to wait. During the walk, Yingsu expresses concern about Jin's readiness for an upcoming challenge. She suddenly attacks him with a fireball to test his true strength. Jin deflects the attack into the forest, inadvertently starting a small fire on one of the White Shark assassins. She keeps throwing fireballs at Jin, and he keeps dodging and deflecting using his spatial ability. This accidentally causes whole squads of assassins to burn, along with the trees around them, but the assassins keep hiding as the idiot Tarkovsky tells them not to reveal their position. Yingsu later explains her actions are related to the spiritual test, an important competition where teams hunt spiritual beasts and collect spiritual beads. She wants to team up with Jin, Xiao Yao, and Wu Lang. Their team needs to qualify for the top ranks, which could allow Jin and Wu Lang to transfer to the prestigious Songjiang Spiritual Warrior College. The team discusses their strategy. Jin proposes a formation where he provides crowd control with his spatial powers. Wu Lang acts as the tank, and Yingsu and Xiao Yao handle damage and ambushes. They joke about team names, eventually settling on everything Jin said is right. Unbeknownst to them, Tarkovsky and his White Shark team keep observing from the forest. They had planned to ambush the group when they separated to look for food and water. However, Jin's spatial storage contains ample supplies, including food for a hot pot meal, so the group never needs to leave their campsite. One of Tarkovsky's men grows impatient with the wait and decides to attack directly. He first beats the idiot Tarkovsky and then attacks with others. Jin and his friends fight back, but they are outnumbered. Jin uses his teleportation abilities and the stall cloth for defense, but his spiritual power depletes quickly. Xiao Yao gets injured, and the situation looks dire. Jin remembers he can contact Captain Lei for help and sends a distress signal with his real-time location. During the fight, Tarkovsky reveals a unique power that allows him to temporarily nullify the abilities of any spiritual warrior he touches. He grabs Jin, preventing him from using his spatial powers and taunting him as weak. Then he starts draining blood from Jin's body. However, the burning blood reagent inside Jin's body activates, giving him a sudden surge of strength. He breaks free and fights back with enhanced power. At the critical moment, Captain Lei arrives with Dark Knight reinforcements. They quickly subdue the remaining White Shark assassins. Captain Lei approaches Jin, insisting he return with her to headquarters. Jin, exhausted from the fight and blood loss, collapses before he can respond. His friends rush to his side, worried about his condition. Jin wakes up in a medical facility under the watchful care of Captain Lei. He feels disoriented and asks about his condition. Medical staff conduct various tests on him. Captain Lei contacts headquarters for the results. The consultation reveals a serious situation. The burning blood reagent inside Jin is a support substance designed to boost a spiritual warrior's rank by speeding up metabolism. During his recent battle, he unconsciously overused it, releasing more energy than his body could handle. The diagnosis is very grave. Jin must increase his spiritual rank from bronze 3 stars to silver within 7 days. If he fails, his accelerated metabolism will cause his death. His body would then become a valuable research specimen for a high-ranking official known as Ice God. The countdown begins right away. Jin has exactly 163 hours and 57 minutes to achieve 7 consecutive level-ups. Dark Knight promises its full support in this desperate race against time. The plan involves giving him a daily supply of high-quality spiritual beads. However, his ability to absorb their energy efficiently is the real challenge. Jin starts training with optimism. He absorbs spiritual beads and quickly rises 1 star level due to his unique talent for full energy absorption. This early success makes him confident. Captain Lei offers a realistic perspective. She reminds him that each subsequent level requires much more spiritual energy. With an A+ aptitude rating herself, it took her 3 years to advance from bronze to silver. Calculations based on Jin's talent suggest a normal time frame of 4 months. The 7-day limit is not a goal but a deadline for his survival. The only method to improve his absorption rate is through intense consumption of his spiritual energy. Dark Knight mobilizes its entire base, dividing personnel into 24 teams to train with Jin without stopping, day and night. The training is brutal and continuous. Jin pushes himself to the limit, unlocking new combat skills like the polearm weapon technique, which he masters quickly. The increased intensity shows a slight improvement in energy absorption, but progress remains slow. Desperation leads Jin to consult his ultimate street vending system. He seeks a shortcut, and the system recommends a weekly formal prize called Heart-Thumping Pop Rocks. This item promises a 10-fold boost in spiritual energy absorption for 8 hours. However, obtaining it requires 100 consecutive draws, for which he lacks the redeem points. The system threatens to shut down due to insufficient points. He keeps drawing for 6 consecutive days, but these Pop-Tarts come with a side effect. They make the consumer extra attractive to people around them. This results in officers becoming too attracted to him and even doing pole dances for him. This prevents him from sleeping for 6 days straight as the officers keep being cheeky with him. On the 7th day, he goes to Captain Lei's chamber and pleads to get in. Once inside, he wants to sleep. She also falls under his charm due to the side effect. He tells her that if he dies, she should go and tell his friends why he did not come. He even gives her a few things to give to them. He asks her to show him her face and remove the mask. Jin pleads with the system, arguing that his death would mean its end as well. He pressures Vendi into allowing a draw. To his shock, the prize is not the Pop Rocks, but a divine beauty pill, an item that enhances physical appearance. The system explains that an update changed the weekly prize. This outcome is a devastating blow, as the pill offers no help for his critical situation. With only 17 hours remaining, they go to training. But the consultant appears and tells them that the convoy carrying vital gold-rank spiritual beads is ambushed by White Shark assassins. The theft suggests a mole within Dark Knight. The loss of these beads makes Jin's mission nearly impossible. The team scrambles for a solution. Mr. Consultant recalls an abandoned project named Dollhouse, a training ground for high-ranking officers. It houses a platinum-rank spiritual beast, the Fire Qilin. The spiritual bead within this creature contains enough energy to elevate Jin to silver rank instantly. This is their last hope. Jin and Captain Lei venture into the derelict facility. The environment is hazardous and long forgotten. After a tense journey, they locate the Fire Qilin. The beast appears dormant, offering a fleeting chance to retrieve the bead without a fight. Jin runs towards the beast, casually. Just when he turns, Mr. Consultant appears from the shadows suddenly and swings his sword at him. But Captain Lei appears just in time to save Jin, and instead, her hand is cut off. Years ago, Mr. Consultant arrived in Snowfield for a crucial selection test for the White Shark organization. He had spent 10 years in rigorous training, swinging a sword 1,000 times each day for a single opportunity. Alexander selected him from hundreds of candidates for one reason: he was low-key. This trait made him ideal for espionage work as an undercover agent. He was recruited into Dark Knight, but only as an intern clerk. In this role, he did not swing his sword, and from that moment, he waited for the time he could finally return to using it. He checked in daily, slowly rising through the ranks from intern clerk to junior clerk and then to consultant. Each day blended into the next for 3,650 days. He often questioned how long he must maintain his cover, and the only answer he received was to be patient. His chance to wield his sword again seemed to arrive with a file labeled Burning Blood. Alexander informed him that successfully retrieving the reagent would allow his return to Snowfield. This hope was shattered when news arrived that Alexander had been subdued by a student named Jin. Mr. Consultant's frustration turned into a vow that Jin would pay for ruining his opportunity. In the present, Mr. Consultant attacks Jin with his sword inside the dollhouse facility. Captain Lei steps in front of Jin to protect him, and her hand gets cut off in the process. Jin runs while carrying Captain Lei, but he cannot use his spiritual powers because the facility is constructed from spiritual binding iron ore that nullifies all spiritual abilities. The undercover consultant confronts them. He explains that within these walls, only raw physical skill matters, and he boasts about his 20 years of honed sword expertise. He declares himself unbeatable in this environment. Captain Lei urges Jin to flee while she holds the agent off, but Jin refuses to leave her behind. The consultant attacks, confident in his superiority. However, Jin surprises him. Despite the nullification of his spatial powers, his recently mastered polearm weapon skills remain effective. He counters the consultant's attacks with a bone he picks up from the ground. A fierce battle ensues, culminating in Jin disarming the consultant and securing the Fire Qilin spiritual bead. The consultant, in a final act of defiance, destroys the precious bead rather than let Jin have it. With the bead gone and only 2 hours left until the burning blood consumes him, Jin faces certain death. He refuses to give up, desperately attempting to absorb any residual spiritual energy in the air. This action inadvertently awakens a horde of spiritual binding beasts, creatures that feed on spiritual energy. They swarm the area, and in the ensuing chaos, Captain Lei is severely injured. As she lies bleeding, she experiences flashbacks to her own induction into Dark Knight and her vow to be a guardian of Lingzhou. She remembers her first mission with her squad, a team that has maintained 0 losses under her command, and her personal oath to never let anyone die in front of her. When she opens her eyes, she finds Jin beside her. They are still in the facility, but somehow she has healed. Her hand has regrown, and she looks absolutely stunning. Jin explains to her that he managed to fight off the beasts using the consultant's sword. In the process, he absorbs the spiritual energy from the beasts themselves, which finally allows him to break through to the silver rank, saving his life. He then used Vitality Ginseng to heal her critical wounds. In a moment of improvisation, he also gave her the Divine Beauty Pill, which restored her beauty. Jin talks with her about the meaning of her sacrifices. He argues that the people she saves would want her to live a full life herself. Her team finds them, expressing their joy and relief at her survival. Later, as they prepare to part ways, Captain Lei sends Jin a gift through a subordinate. The gift is a gold-ranked spiritual bead from a ghost-faced toad. She considers this a fair trade for the events that transpired. And he proudly announces his new silver rank, so the team celebrates with him, but unbeknownst to them, we see 2 men watching them as they confirm Jin as the bearer of the burning blood reagent and their next target. It turns out that Makarov and Wim are assassins from the White Sharks who have hidden their weapons and entered the exam disguised as ordinary silver rank student warriors so they can blend into the crowd and get close enough to eliminate Jin. Makarov is already irritated and looks down on the plan, unable to understand why a gold-level fighter like him must act like a student just to deal with someone ranked silver, but Wim warns him not to be careless because Jin has already killed many of their people, proving that he is far from ordinary. They continue watching the crowded entrance where candidates gather under the supervision of the Dark Knights, who manage security and announce that the exam will take place in the Divine Pool Spiritual Veil, after which Makarov and Wim join the line and submit fake IDs. When asked about their age, Wim shamelessly lies that they are repeaters who have failed 10 times and are taking their last chance, making everyone laugh, and the staff member explains that the test will last 5 days, ranking teams based on the number and quality of spiritual beads they collect, while the route offers 3 lanes with different risks, where the bottom is safest, the middle is balanced, and the top is the most dangerous, but has the best rewards, which leads Jin to choose the top lane without hesitation as he seeks stronger beasts. After boarding the aircraft, the rules are repeated with a strict warning against attacking other candidates inside the valley. And when Wu Lang tries to give Jin a parachute, it slips away and Wim secretly damages it before returning it, but Jin calmly says he does not need one because he can teleport safely. Tianshan, being rude as always, grabs the faulty parachute without checking and wears it, and as the students begin jumping, Jin uses his teleportation skill to land smoothly, while Xiaoyao and Yingsu even pose for photos mid-air, enjoying the fall instead of fearing it. Seeing an opportunity, Makarov reaches for his weapon but realizes his bag now contains clothes instead of gear because it was switched earlier when he bumped into Tianshan, and the clothes burst out and hit Tianshan, causing him to spin uncontrollably before crashing into Makarov and Wim, then into Jin's group, scattering everyone. Yingsu and Xiaoyao quickly deploy their parachutes, but Wu Lang's tears apart, so Jin uses his spatial chain skill to catch Wu Lang and then throws out 2 more chains for Xiaoyao and Yingsu to grab. That rescue keeps them safe, but it drains a huge amount of Jin's spiritual power, forcing him to wrap himself in his vending cloth and keep dropping alone toward the ground, while Tianshan laughs at him, but his own parachute fails and he falls too. After landing badly, Wim decides they should first find their original gear and then kill Jin, while Makarov says the plan is trash and complains that Wim is only following him without any better idea. On the ground, Tianshan crashes onto a tree branch and realizes he has taken the wrong bag, but instead of worrying, he becomes excited when he finds a Dragon Abyss army gun with spiritual binding bullets. At the same time, Jin wakes up after a hard fall and learns from Vendi that his account balance is empty, which turns off invincible mode immediately. Wu Lang transforms into a bear and lands safely with Yingsu and Xiao Yao, and the group decides to move deeper into the valley while searching for Jin and hunting spiritual beasts at the same time. Soon, Wu Lang senses danger and panics when a beast roars, and while other students hear it and run away thinking a gold rank Earth Rage Bear is coming, Tian Shan becomes excited and rushes toward the sound to test his weapon, while Jin also heads in that direction. Makarov spots Jin first and moves through the bushes to attack, but Tian Shan mistakes him for the beast and fires a spiritual bullet that hits him hard, and at the same time Jin sees a bear rushing past and chases it, believing it is Wu Lang. When Tian Shan arrives expecting a great hunt, he finds Makarov and Wim instead, and although they want to fight, Wim delays it as other students gather and convinces Tian Shan to let them join him by saying he understands beasts. Meanwhile, Jin stops the bear, but a white tiger attacks it, and Jin defeats the tiger easily and takes its spiritual bead, which frightens the bear until he realizes it is Wu Lang, though he finds it strange that Wu Lang is not wearing trousers and tells him to stay in bear form. Tian Shan keeps firing at shadows and refuses to listen as Makarov grows more annoyed. And when they meet the bear again, he refuses to believe it is Wu Lang even after Jin says it. Tian Shan becomes convinced it is a rare beast, which turns the argument into a fight where Jin, almost out of power, uses his last strength to trap them with chains and escape with Wu Lang. While they run, Tian Shan fires a powerful shot that breaks through the bear's shield, but at that moment a giant shield appears, and a massive mother bear rushes in to protect them, revealing that Wu Lang, Yingsu, and Xiao Yao are with her after she mistook Wu Lang for her cub. The mother bear then beats Tian Shan badly before later giving Wu Lang a golden spiritual bead and leaving with her cub. Meanwhile, Makarov and Wim, both injured and blaming each other, reach a cave where someone suddenly points a gun at them, and they realize it is Tian Shan. A small monkey finds a large fruit, but before it can enjoy it, a bigger monkey tries to snatch it away, only to be killed by rival students who then argue over the credit, allowing the small monkey to escape while still clutching its prize until it slips and falls into a hot spring. Yingsu and Xiao Yao, who are bathing there, are startled as Xiao Yao demands to know who is in the water, and the frightened monkey scrambles out and runs straight into their tent. Yingsu calls out to Jin, who is inside, and asks him to pass her towel from her bag, but when he opens it, he finds the same candy box she carried in their childhood and realizes she still keeps it, likely because it holds memories of them. Before he can react, the monkey mistakes the box for fruit, snatches it, and runs off, leaving Jin standing there in shock as Wu Lang and Xiao Yao continue enjoying the hot spring while Yingsu sits calmly, and they talk about how Jin's spatial space lets them enjoy warmth and comfort during the exam, while he remains distracted and imagines Yingsu getting angry at him for losing something so important. The monkey keeps running through the tents as the freezing air outside makes survival harder, and a haggard student who looks almost like a zombie from the cold suddenly appears, scaring the monkey into fleeing even faster. That student then stumbles toward Jin's warm tent and asks to use the hot spring, and although Jin tells him others are still inside, the student offers a spiritual bead for the chance, so once the group finishes and steps out, he rushes into the water without hesitation. Yingsu reminds Jin to plan their next hunt since a blizzard is approaching, and when Xiao Yao mentions the map in Yingsu's bag and moves to get it, Jin quickly hides all their bags in his spatial storage, which makes the others suspicious, but he explains that he is only keeping their belongings safe from strangers. To change the mood, he starts cooking, and the rich aroma spreads through the area, drawing nearby students who offer spiritual beads in exchange for food. Meanwhile, the monkey finally reaches a cave where Tian Shan is staying and gets caught, but it secretly hides the stolen candy box in a small pocket. And when Makarov and Wim return after hours of failed hunting, Tian Shan mocks their failure and boasts about catching a creature without leaving the cave, which makes Makarov's anger rise as he begins to consider attacking him. Tian Shan points his rifle at Makarov and Wim and threatens to kill them if they fail, while Wim quickly suggests using the monkey's fluids to create a special monster-attracting potion. At the same time, a student reporter records the strange events of the exam, showing students trading blue spiritual beads or even blue metallic objects for food from Jin. And when asked why he wants those items, Jin begins describing a square object but stops when he sees Yingsu approaching and quickly pulls her away, and from a distance Tian Shan watches the stall with intense hunger. Meanwhile, Makarov and Wim torture the small monkey to force it to produce what they need for the potion, while elsewhere Jin collects a large number of spiritual beads and even receives Tianshan's spear from another student, though no one finds the candy box. Yingsu approaches Jin and points out that he has been avoiding her all morning, asking for her bag to get moisturizer. But Jin quickly makes an excuse and gives her crushed spiritual beads instead, claiming they work better. Back in the cave, a mushroom suddenly falls out of the monkey during the struggle, and Tianshan picks it up, while the assassins claim the potion is complete. Tianshan, arrogant as always, mocks them and demands they make more, but then eats the mushroom himself and immediately faints because it is poisonous, giving Makarov and Wim the chance to beat him in revenge for his earlier behavior. But in the chaos, the frightened monkey grabs a fallen gun and shoots Makarov. Away from all this, Jin takes Yingsu to a quiet place and tells her he has something important to say, but she becomes distracted when she notices the beautiful aurora and begins to dance happily under it, while Jin watches her and remembers how they once talked about this same aurora as children and promised to see it together one day, and the two sit down and share that memory they have both kept for years. Later, Jin finally catches the monkey and shakes it until the candy box falls out, and Yingsu immediately notices it just as Makarov and Wim arrive and demand the monkey, claiming it stole something valuable, but they refuse to describe the item, which makes Jin suspect they are actually looking for the spear, so he gives them another bag and leaves. Wim opens it expecting their gun but finds Tianshan's spear instead, while Jin sets the monkey down and Yingsu returns the candy box, noticing a dent and realizing Jin hid it out of embarrassment, thinking it was from their childhood, though she tells him it is just an ordinary box, and in return, the monkey gives Jin the expensive gun with rare bullets that can block spiritual power, while Jin begins to strongly suspect the true identities of Makarov and Wim, as their anger toward him keeps growing. Jin discovers the hidden base of the White Sharks and informs Captain Lei, and when she arrives, she questions how he is certain about their identity, but Jin explains that it is instinct, because every White Shark member he has met had unusual names, just like Makarov and Wim. An officer checks their records and finds Wim listed in the database while Makarov has no record at all, which raises suspicion, leading Captain Lei to conclude that Makarov is likely a high-ranking or hidden operative, especially since Wim follows him without question, so she immediately plans a night raid. To avoid putting students in danger, Captain Lei assigns Jin the task of keeping everyone gathered at the base camp, and Jin comes up with a clever plan by organizing a party using energy drinks delivered by helicopter, which attracts the exhausted students and keeps them in one place while Captain Lei and her team move out for the raid. During the party, Jin notices something is wrong when he cannot find Tianshan, and his concern grows when he sees Makarov and Wim among the students instead of at their base. At the same time, Captain Lei and her team confront Tianshan, pointing their weapons at him and demanding answers, and Tianshan admits that he had already suspected Makarov and Wim were not repeaters but members of the White Sharks, though before he can say more, Captain Lei orders him taken away and immediately contacts Jin. When she tells him the assassins are not at the hideout, Jin is shocked and reveals that they are right in front of him at the party, which makes Captain Lei realize the danger and instruct him to evacuate all the students so her team can act without risking innocent lives. Meanwhile, Makarov prepares to kill Jin, but Wim stops him and suggests waiting until the students become exhausted and distracted from the energy drinks, so they can isolate Jin and finish the mission without interference. Jin understands the urgency and tries to end the party, but the students refuse to leave and continue celebrating for hours, which frustrates Makarov, while Captain Lei, having already positioned her snipers, calls again and urges Jin to act quickly. With no other option, Jin first announces that the food and drinks are finished, but the students still refuse to leave, so he uses his spatial space ability to prepare a large pot of hot soup and offers it to everyone, and the students eagerly drink it one by one. However, Wim senses something is wrong and stops Makarov from drinking, and moments later chaos erupts as Jin's plan begins to take effect. All the students suddenly suffer from severe diarrhea, and in panic and embarrassment they scatter in every direction, leaving the area completely empty. Makarov and Wim are briefly confused by the sudden disappearance, but when they see Jin standing alone, they realize this is the perfect chance to strike without interference. Before they can act, Captain Lei and the Dark Knights launch their attack, and a fierce gunfight begins instantly as Captain Lei confronts Makarov while the rest surround Wim, but Wim easily overpowers them, proving he is far stronger than he appears. At the same time, Jin quickly decides to send Wu Lang, Yingsu, and Xiaoyao back to base camp using a jeep from his spatial space, ensuring their safety before heading straight toward the battlefield to support Captain Lei. The Dark Knights open heavy fire on Makarov, and one officer believes he has been taken down. But Captain Lei remains calm and warns the fight is not over, and as the smoke clears, Makarov emerges in a diamond-like body, completely unharmed by the bullets. Immediately, Makarov and Wim counterattack, and Wim fires a spiritual bullet at Captain Lei. But just before it hits, Jin arrives and uses his spatial ability to redirect the bullet back into Wim. Without hesitation, Wim pulls out multiple bombs and charges forward. But just as he is about to throw them, Tian Shan suddenly appears flying on his spear and strikes him, lifting him into the air, believing that helping the Dark Knights will earn him points. Captain Lei orders Jin to assist Tian Shan while she continues fighting Makarov, but mid-air Wim tampers with the spear and destabilizes it, knocking Tian Shan off balance and sending him falling. Jin reacts instantly and saves Tian Shan using his spatial ability, but notices that Tian Shan has unknowingly pulled a bomb pin, and a moment later the explosion erupts, throwing the spear away and catching Wim in the blast, followed by a chain of explosions across the battlefield. Meanwhile, Captain Lei continues fighting Makarov but is slowly overwhelmed, and as the explosions echo, Makarov smirks and retreats into the forest, leaving the Dark Knights stunned. Deep in the forest, spiritual beasts suddenly go berserk and begin attacking every student at the base camp, and the cause traces back to the earlier explosions where Wim had mixed a special potion that clung to the students' clothes, not only attracting beasts but driving them into a violent rage and turning every student into a moving target. Just as one beast is about to strike, Jin arrives at the last second and saves the student with his chain ability, then moves rapidly across the battlefield, swinging like Spider-Man and rescuing others one by one, until one of his chains snaps and he begins to fall. At that moment, Wu Lang, Yingsu, and Xiaoyao arrive in a jeep and pull Jin to safety, and as they drive away, a swarm of spiritual beasts, including 2 giant centipedes, chases them relentlessly, while Jin continues pulling fleeing students into the vehicle with his chains until it becomes completely packed, even carrying Tian Shan and several Dark Knights officers. Realizing they cannot outrun the beasts, Tian Shan urges Jin to act, and just then Jin receives a jackpot fruit from his vending machine and fully restores his spiritual stamina. With renewed strength, Jin tells the students that the potion on their clothes is attracting the beasts, and that they must give him their clothes. He uses his chains to strip them while they silently curse him, gathering all the clothes into a bundle, and jumps off in another direction. The beasts instantly turn and chase Jin instead, allowing the jeep carrying Wu Lang and the others to escape safely. Though as the danger fades, Yingsu quietly worries because Jin is now alone facing the entire horde. Elsewhere in the forest, Captain Lei is locked in a brutal fight with Makarov, unleashing powerful attacks but failing to break his diamond-like defense, and with each strike she only injures herself further until she becomes badly wounded, while Makarov grows confident and prepares to finish her. Just then, Jin arrives, and Makarov is pleased to see his real target appear, but Jin calmly says he has brought a surprise and throws the bundle of clothes toward him. The scent immediately draws multiple spiritual beasts that swarm Makarov, yet he easily overpowers them and throws them aside without effort. But in that brief moment of arrogance when his guard drops, Jin opens his spatial space and summons a giant centipede that instantly devours Makarov whole, giving Jin and Captain Lei a moment of relief that quickly fades. From inside the centipede, Makarov tears it apart and bursts out completely unharmed, and the battle resumes instantly, but this time it turns one-sided as he overwhelms both Jin and Captain Lei with sheer strength. Seeing Captain Lei critically injured, Jin quickly teleports her to safety, and even then she urges him to escape, insisting they cannot defeat Makarov and that she will stay behind to hold him off, and after a brief hesitation, Jin agrees and disappears. Moments later, Makarov reaches Captain Lei and transforms his arm into a sharp diamond spear to finish her. But just as he strikes, Jin suddenly reappears and uses his teleportation to redirect the attack, driving Makarov's own spear-like arm into his body and inflicting the first real injury he has taken. Jin tells Captain Lei he would never leave her behind, then realizes that if nothing can break the diamond armor, they must use something just as strong. He pulls the diamond spear from Makarov's body and hands it to Captain Lei, then uses his chains to restrain Makarov in place, holding him still as Captain Lei attacks, and together they launch a relentless assault, striking repeatedly with the diamond spear until cracks begin to spread across his armor. With one final combined blow, the armor shatters completely, and the force sends Makarov flying, ending the battle. Both Makarov and Wim are arrested. While exhausted, Jin and Captain Lei collapse on ground, and as she thanks him sincerely and admits she owes him a debt, Jin replies with a faint smile that she can repay it now if she wants. And afterward, the Dark Knights collect the shattered diamond armor and give it to Jin as the favor he requested. Later, during the exam results, each team presents their spiritual beads, and when it is Jin's turn, he asks for them to be weighed instead of counted, revealing an unbelievable amount that sets a new record and secures first place. After the exam, everyone returns to the city where Jin resumes his usual life, while Captain Lei returns to the Dark Knight's headquarters but remains distracted as if thinking about Jin. That night, Yingsu and Xiaoyao drop Jin home, and after a long and slightly awkward farewell with Yingsu, he finally goes inside, only to freeze in surprise when he finds Captain Lei already waiting in his room, where she looks at him seriously and tells him she wants him to become her man. Jin feels confused by Captain Lei's words because he only sees her as a protective older sister, but she explains that she is inviting him to join the Dark Knights, and although it is a major opportunity, Jin declines because he plans to take his national exams and has spent the last 10 years wanting to stay by Yingsu's side. However, when Captain Lei reveals that her team will capture the final White Sharks member the next day, Jin is shocked and immediately agrees to help. Later, aboard a Dark Knight's aircraft, Jin learns that Katarina has booked a train to the snowfield, so he decides to join the mission, while Captain Lei warns him that she will arrest him if he lets the assassin escape again. Jin teleports both of them into the train and tries to persuade her that Katarina may be a good person who has not killed anyone and that he wants to talk first, then locks Captain Lei inside a bathroom to delay her while he searches for the seat listed on the ticket. At the seat, Jin finds a stranger instead of Katarina, and when the man refuses to move and acts aggressively, a crowd gathers as Jin raises his voice, and the man reveals himself as Changshin, the 12th Hall Master of the Blood Oath, making Jin realize he is facing a dangerous gang member. Soon after, a commotion breaks out as a strange man enters, and when Blood Oath members move to attack him, another fighter steps in and declares they are from the Elite Brotherhood. Mocking begins, and the newcomer is introduced as the second young master, turning the situation into a tense standoff between rival gangs, while Jin realizes the entire train is filled with criminals. Just then, Captain Lei breaks out of the bathroom, and Jin reacts quickly by secretly mixing a tablet into Changshin's drink, causing him to suddenly fall ill and rush for the bathroom before he can attack Xu Xiao, while Jin uses teleportation to move Captain Lei away and tries to stop her from calling reinforcements. While Changshin desperately searches for a free bathroom, Jin and Captain Lei continue struggling over the radio while teleporting from one compartment to another, repeatedly taking the bathrooms Changshin tries to use, creating chaos as he chases them in desperation. Meanwhile, Captain Lei manages to contact her allies, Raptor and Thunder, and despite Jin's attempts to warn them not to board because the train is filled with gang members, they decide to come anyway, and soon Dark Knight's helicopters surround the train while gangsters inside open fire. Captain Lei prepares to join the fight, but Jin stops her and urges retreat, explaining that fighting recklessly inside a train full of enemies will only lead to unnecessary bloodshed. Outside, the Dark Knights retaliate with heavy gunfire, and although Captain Lei refuses to back down at first, asking if Jin expects her to fear common thugs, Jin counters her pride with calm logic, reminding her that every soldier trusts her with their life, and asking if she is willing to lead them to death just to prove a point. Realizing the weight of his words, Captain Lei tries to call off the attack, but the noise of battle drowns out her voice. In the chaos, Xu Xiao accidentally knocks their radio into a bathroom and quickly hides the second young master there while Changshin is still desperately trying to get inside, and then Xu Xiao moves with incredible speed, dodging machine gun fire before suddenly pulling out a rocket launcher and aiming it at the Dark Knight's helicopters. The rocket is fired, putting the soldiers in immediate danger, but Jin reacts instantly, grabbing Captain Lei and teleporting in front of the helicopter, where he tells her to signal retreat, and she does so mid-air, allowing the helicopters to escape just in time. Jin and Captain Lei land on the train roof, still arguing, where Captain Lei admits she is shocked by the number of gangsters gathered on this route. Jin admits he also does not understand the reason, and points out that Katarina is still missing, so they decide to capture a high-ranking member to learn the truth. But while discussing this, they are startled to find the second young master already sitting inside the stall. Meanwhile, Xu Xiao continues controlling the situation outside while Chang Shen keeps running from one bathroom to another in desperation, and the entire train remains filled with dangerous gang members from the Blood Oath and Elite Brotherhood, turning it into a moving battlefield where every step is risky. Far away, Yingsu, Xiaoyao, and Wu Lang track Jin using the location he shared, and when they realize he is on the same train Katarina boarded, Xiaoyao becomes suspicious while Yingsu tells her not to jump to conclusions, though her actions reveal her worry as she takes control and drives at extreme speed toward the train. Jin and Captain Lei question the second young master of the Elite Brotherhood to learn why so many gangs are on the train, and he reveals that a man named Rofi has organized a massive underground auction where all major groups are heading, with the main item being a weapon powerful enough to destroy an entire city. Jin then takes out a special glove from his vending machine that erases the last 5 minutes of memory and repeatedly slaps the man to ensure he forgets everything, after which he and Captain Lei teleport away, and when Xu Xiao later enters, the young master remembers nothing. Captain Lei tries to call Raptor for backup, but Jin refuses to hand over the phone, claiming it contains private videos and insisting he will dial himself, while she struggles to recall the number and fails repeatedly, and Jin attempts to calm her by suggesting she treat the situation like a vacation. At that moment, Jin looks outside and sees his friends chasing the train in a car, and when Xiaoyao messages that they are watching him, the gangsters notice the car and open fire, forcing Jin to teleport his friends into the train and tell them to act like simple passengers to avoid suspicion. To prevent further trouble, Jin collects everyone's phones and suggests playing a card game to blend in, and as they play, Yingsu wins repeatedly, drawing attention until the second young master approaches and insists on joining, and although Xiaoyao refuses at first, Xu Xiao shows his gun, forcing them to accept. The game grows loud, waking Changshen, who arrives furious and ready to fight, but by the time Jin and Captain Lei come from the bathroom after hearing the noise, they find him already playing along. As the game continues, Yingsu keeps winning, and Changshen grows angry, and when Xiaoyao demands payment, he insists on another round, calling it best of 3, and this time both sides bet heavily, with Xu Xiao adding a bank draft while Changshen argues over who should reveal cards first. The train suddenly enters a dark tunnel, and in the darkness everyone tries to cheat, leading to accusations and a fight as Changshen draws a knife, but Captain Lei steps in and kicks him away. When Changshen demands to know their identity, Jin quickly stops Captain Lei from revealing the Dark Knights and instead claims they belong to the Bald Brotherhood, surprising the surrounding gangsters who have never heard of them but are impressed by Captain Lei's strength. Jin warns that his group always settles debts and takes revenge, and soon after, the train reaches Suka Station, and all the criminals step off together, and as Captain Lei tries to contact Raptor to report their location, she finds the signal completely jammed. Yingsu tells Jin that she saw members of the Rakshasa gang among the crowd, which makes Jin worry that they might recognize both him and Yingsu. But before he can react, a man named Rofi appears like smoke and snatches the phone from Captain Lei, calmly stating that phones are not allowed here. Everyone's attention turns toward Jin and his group, including the leader of the Rakshasa gang, and when Rofi asks if it is their first time, Jin quickly lies that they were only watching anime, and introduces them as the Bald Brotherhood, asking to be informed of the rules. Just then, the Rakshasa gang leader points at Yingsu and claims she is Miss Zhang from Jiang Cheng's Zhang family and must be killed since she does not belong with them, but Jin immediately counters that she is there because the Zhang family financially supports the Bald Brotherhood, then turns the accusation around by saying the Rakshasa gang is only acting this way because they previously lost to his group. He boldly declares that the Bald Brotherhood has defeated the Rakshasa gang and carried out major incidents like the Jiangcheng Academy lunch poisoning, the clash with white sharks at the night market, and the expressway racing chaos, which convinces the thugs because they already know of these events. Jin then asks Rofi if they are qualified to enter, and Rofi laughs and explains that only those with invitation tickets can join, so Jin pretends he gave his ticket to his friends, but suspicion rises among the gangsters and Captain Lei prepares to fight before Jin stops her and claims someone must have stolen his ticket. Secretly, Jin uses his teleportation to steal invitations from others, and when everyone realizes their tickets are missing, he creates confusion and plants them on a rival Rakshasa leader, exposing him. Just as the accused tries to defend himself, Yingsu suddenly uses her flames and burns both him and the tickets, and Jin declares that the Bald Brotherhood always takes revenge, which impresses the surrounding criminals who begin murmuring about their dominance. Even though the invitations are destroyed, Rofi simply laughs and allows everyone to proceed, showing that the test was more about power than rules. The group then travels to a secret location by vehicle, and along the way Jin tells his friends to relax and enjoy it like a trip while he handles the danger until they finally arrive at a hotel where the staff demands payment for rooms and food, leaving Jin standing there in shock as he realizes he actually has to pay. Jin uses the cash he has to get his group into the hotel, and as they enter, everyone is impressed by the luxurious setting, feeling that the place matches its high cost. They find a table and sit down, but when they check the menu, they are shocked by the extreme prices, so Jin quietly pulls Captain Lei aside and asks if the military will cover the cost, and she warns him to keep spending as low as possible even if they do. Noticing a nearby table full of food, Jin wonders if it is free, which earns him a cold stare from a man sitting there, yet Jin continues complaining about the prices and calls the owner foolish before realizing the man is Andre, the owner of the Bear Hotel, forcing him to quickly change his tone and praise the place instead. Soon, Rofi begins a formal speech, asking the gathered criminals how long they will live under stronger gangs, and introducing a powerful weapon called the Star of the Sea, said to be capable of destroying an entire city and crafted from a celestial-level spiritual beast. Captain Lei quietly tells Jin that they cannot allow such a weapon to fall into the wrong hands. As Rofi thanks Andre for hosting and prepares to begin the auction, Jin realizes they must obtain the weapon, but instead of stealing it directly and drawing attention, he plans to steal the money from other gangs. To find who has the most wealth, Jin uses his vending system to create a green truth serum liquor and tells his group to share it with others, but the plan shifts when the gangs grow suspicious and challenge them to a drinking contest instead. Jin avoids getting drunk by secretly teleporting the alcohol away, but Captain Lei drinks normally and becomes heavily intoxicated, causing a scene that draws attention from all the gangs. Just as tension rises and the thugs begin surrounding them, Jin quickly adapts by gathering different liquors into one container, mixing in the truth serum and drinking first to gain trust before offering it to everyone, who accept it without suspicion due to the Bald Brotherhood's bold generosity. When his friends worry, Jin quietly explains that instead of drinking, he used his spatial ability to redirect the liquor away, ensuring they stay clear-headed while the rest fall under the effect. The truth serum takes effect immediately, and as Jin confidently boasts that he will win the auction, a rival gang member blurts out that they brought 30 gold bars and are guaranteed victory, which leads other gangs to reveal their wealth as well, while Jin quietly tells his group to write everything down. One leader claims a 5 billion bank draft along with property in Jiangcheng, but Changshen mocks them and reveals he brought an immortal peach from Penglai's spiritual veil that can raise someone from gold to platinum rank, making Jin instantly mark it as his main target. Xu Xiao then steps forward and declares that the Elite Brotherhood has brought 3 green plums from Cloud Isle spiritual veil that can revive a person, calling them priceless. And as the serum spreads further, the room turns chaotic as gang members begin confessing secrets, including affairs and hidden identities, which quickly leads to fights breaking out across the hall. Amid the chaos, Jin notices that Andre is the only one unaffected, as he cleverly froze the drink into ice and avoided consuming it. Realizing Andre now holds all the financial secrets of every gang present, Jin decides to follow him and steal that information, planning to use his spatial abilities and memory-wiping gloves to avoid getting caught, while Captain Lei insists she should handle it because of her experience. Jin refuses and instead decides to disguise himself as Katarina, taking out her poster and using a special pudding that allows him to change his appearance. After transforming, Jin sneaks into Andre's room and tries to knock him out with a bottle, but the attack fails as the bottle hits a pillow, and in the struggle the bed suddenly rotates, dropping Jin into a hidden passage beneath the room. He falls into an underground corridor where the walls are reinforced with spiritual bindings, preventing him from using his teleportation. Jin searches for a way out and discovers a hidden cell, and just then, a hand suddenly reaches out toward him, and he is shocked to find the real Katarina imprisoned inside. While the other assassins retreat to their rooms, Andre captures Jin and locks him in a cage alongside the real Katarina, then reveals his true identity as the boss of the White Sharks, and admits that this entire setup was a trap meant to catch Jin. Jin first tries to bluff by claiming he is Katarina's long-lost twin, but Andre does not believe him. So Jin drops the act and says he came to finish Andre instead, only for Andre to mock him and claim he has already dealt with his friends before calling for his men. Before Andre can continue, a subordinate rushes in and reports a problem with the second young master of the Elite Brotherhood causing trouble, and annoyed, Andre decides to handle it personally and leaves Jin locked up for later. Left alone, Jin realizes he is deep inside enemy territory and needs a way out, so he uses Katarina's finger like a lockpick and successfully opens the cage. Earlier, 3 White Shark's assassins had been sent to attack Jin's friends, but Captain Lei defeated them easily, and with guards patrolling the halls, Wu Lang, Yingsu, and Xiao Yao used Jin's special pudding to disguise themselves as those assassins while Captain Lei hides behind them. During their escape, they accidentally knock on a door that turns out to be the Elite Brotherhood's room, angering Xu Zhao. And although they apologize, they disturb him again and quickly leave, while the real assassins regain consciousness and arrive, creating confusion that leads Xu Zhao to demand to see their boss, forcing them to go fetch Andre. Meanwhile, Jin and Katarina try to escape but end up wandering in circles until Katarina points out a door she believes leads to the kitchen, and with no better idea, Jin randomly chooses using a simple method only for them to burst into the Elite Brotherhood's room instead. Inside, they find Andre already there being confronted by Xu Xiao and the second young master. Andre tries to maintain control and act diplomatic, but Xu Xiao shows no fear and threatens to buy the entire hotel within 72 hours. Seizing the chaos, Jin uses that moment to quietly slip away and steal 3 priceless revival plum candies. As he moves through the hotel, he realizes that all the rooms are connected and understands that Andre plans to rob his wealthy guests, so Jin decides to act first and loot them before Andre can. When Andre returns and discovers that Jin and Katarina have escaped, he immediately orders the White Sharks to hunt Jin down. But by then, Jin and Katarina have already begun moving from room to room, stealing valuables, while Jin's friends, still disguised as White Shark assassins and hiding Captain Lei, search the halls for him. Jin enters Chang Shen's room while he is asleep, taking the immortal peach from his hand and replaces it with a worthless flower before escaping. At the same time, Jin's disguised friends reach the same room but leave, and when Jin sees them from a distance, he mistakes them for real White Sharks and briefly returns before escaping again, which leads Chang Shen to wake up and realize his immortal peach is gone, immediately blaming the assassins and attacking Captain Lei. During the fight, they discover a hidden passage and follow Jin's trail, and just as Chang Shen is about to strike Captain Lei, Jin suddenly appears and knocks him unconscious with a green bottle using teleportation before escaping with her. Soon, other gang leaders arrive, see Chang Shen defeated, and begin talking about how brutal the Bald Brotherhood must be. But when Chang Shen regains consciousness and sees 3 White Shark figures, he accuses them of betrayal and theft, leading other gangs to capture those 3 assassins and bring them to Andre. Jin watches from hiding and realizes those captured assassins are actually Yingsu and the others, making it clear they must rescue them. While the gang leaders argue in front of Andre, with Chang Shen demanding his immortal peach, Jin creates chaos by loudly listing stolen items and then teleporting some of them into Andre's hands, causing everyone to turn their guns on him. But in the confusion, when Jin and Katarina try to free the captured assassins, they are suddenly overpowered because those are real White Shark assassins who grab Jin and shout that they have captured him, while his real friends remain trapped elsewhere in the underground tunnels, unable to escape. While Jin and Katarina are held captive, Jin quietly signals Captain Lei to escape while he handles the situation, and as the gangs interrogate Andre, he tries to shift all blame onto Jin, but Jin calmly points out that he is still handcuffed and cannot be responsible. Andre threatens to kill him first, but Jin stays composed and claims he is not just a thug but an underground loan shark who has lent money to many, saying he only came to watch the auction, and when a gang leader questions his wealth, Jin boldly declares he has enough money to help someone win the entire auction. Andre insists Jin will die by morning, but Jin cleverly suggests that if he is going to die anyway, they should move the auction to tonight so he can provide loans, and desperate gangs quickly agree, forcing the auction to be rescheduled as Rofi accepts the change. Jin then asks for his hands to be freed so he can use his spatial ability to retrieve money. And although Andre is suspicious, the other gangs pressure him into allowing it, after which Andre seals the entire hotel with metal walls, turning it into a fortress and keeping Katarina as insurance. During this, Jin secretly signals Captain Lei again, telling her to find Wu Lang, Yingsu, and Xiao Yao in the tunnels, and escape while he handles the Star of the Sea and meets them later, and soon after Rofi begins the auction. Jin sits calmly as the Kunshan gang leader approaches him, saying that although they are criminals, they have rules against stealing within their group, and offers Jin a share of their earnings if he helps them, but Jin says it is not about money, which leads them to name him their honorary godfather, a title he accepts before giving them a loan in exchange for an IOU. As the bidding war intensifies, the Kunshan gang leads at first, but Andre raises the stakes while the second young master of the Elite Brotherhood also joins through a deal with Jin, and throughout the auction, Jin keeps lending money to different gangs, dragging the process out and forcing Andre to spend more and more. Meanwhile, Captain Lei finds Wulang and the others and tells them Jin wants them to escape. And although she wants to return and help him, they believe Jin has a plan, and that interfering would only make things worse. While searching for a way out, they realize the fortress has no easy exit, but Captain Lei notices a draft of cold air behind a wall, suggesting the snowfield lies beyond it, and although Yingsu's powers don't work there, Wu Lang recalls his father's demolition work, and explains that by applying Hooke's law and striking 3 weak points at once, they can collapse the structure and break through. Back at the auction, the bidding reaches a stalemate, and an irritated Andre forces everyone into a game of Russian roulette to decide the winner, while Rofi calmly announces that he has already received the payment he wanted and leaves the outcome to the gangs. One by one, the game turns deadly as gang members take turns and begin to die, until even the Kunshan gang leader is killed and another leader flees in terror. And when Changshen takes his turn, he tries to turn the gun on his own subordinate but no bullet fires, so he passes it to Andre, who shoots himself, only for a real bullet to appear and be frozen mid-air by his ice powers, which angers the others. But Andre arrogantly tells them that if they can defend themselves, they should do so as well. Meanwhile, Jin's friends remain trapped behind the reinforced walls, unable to break through despite their efforts, and even the elite brotherhood withdraws from the game when the second young master refuses to risk Xu Zhao. At that moment, Jin steps forward holding a glass with 2 cherries and declares that since the Kunshan gang named him their godfather, he will represent them, and to prevent him from cheating, Andre has him bound with spiritual binding chains, yet Jin remains completely calm. Before starting, Jin eats one of the cherries, keeping the other aside, and despite being restrained, he loads the gun and calmly shoots himself in the head, only for nothing to happen, then pulls the trigger several more times without a single bullet firing before tossing the gun to a shaken Andre. Forced to rely on his powers, Andre keeps using his spiritual energy to block bullets, while Jin mocks him openly, pointing out that he is the one taking real risks while Andre cheats, which begins to sway the crowd in Jin's favor. Jin raises the stakes by loading 5 bullets and leaving only 1 empty chamber, firing the safe shot himself and then challenging Andre to continue. And as Jin repeatedly pulls the trigger with impossible speed, Andre is forced to keep defending until his spiritual energy runs out completely. Faced with certain death and no power left to stop the bullet, Andre panics and forfeits, allowing the legendary weapon to be brought out and handed to Jin. However, the moment Jin takes it, Andre secretly signals the White Sharks to surround the area and seize the weapon by force, but Jin reacts instantly by calling out to Katarina, who eats the second lucky cherry and gains extraordinary luck, allowing her to catch the Star of the Sea and move safely through the chaos as everything erupts around them. Downstairs, Jin's friends desperately pound against the walls in search of an escape, and the sheer force of their blows sends deep cracks racing through the structure, causing the entire building to weaken as it begins to crumble from within. While above them, Katarina pushes forward through falling debris with paths opening at just the right moment as if guided by chance, yet at the same time Jin's 30-minute streak of luck comes to an abrupt end, leaving him unlucky and quickly surrounded and captured by assassins without any means of resistance. As the structure collapses further, the floor beneath Katarina gives way and she falls, but by sheer luck, a massive opening forms where she lands, dropping her safely into a tunnel from which she escapes alongside Captain Lei and the others, while Jin remains behind and effectively sacrifices his own freedom to hold back their enemies until nightfall, when the remaining gang members are driven out of the hotel and Jin, now fully captured, is restrained as Andre extracts several tubes of his burning blood, after which Rofi reveals that the entire auction had been a carefully constructed ruse meant to lure Jin and seize his spiritual blood. And although Rofi is irritated that the Star of the Sea weapon slipped away, Andre reassures him that his assassins will recover it, receiving in return a single vial of the burning blood as an investment, along with a warning to use it carefully. Meanwhile, Jin warns Andre that the Dark Knights are already searching for this location and suggests that letting him go would be the wiser choice, yet Andre instead threatens that if the Bald Brotherhood fails to return the Star of the Sea weapon, Jin will be killed, a statement overheard by rival gang members who immediately begin plotting to steal the weapon for themselves. While outside, Jin's companions wait anxiously as Katarina's remaining luck from the cherry causes incoming shots from assassins to miss her inexplicably, prompting the group to use the random biscuits Jin had given them, which by chance all turn out to be the same type, and transform them into ordinary rabbits so they can hide in plain sight as enemies pass by without noticing. Once the danger temporarily passes and they revert to normal, Yingsu suggests using the durian fruit, but at the exact moment Katarina prepares to throw it, her luck runs out and she stumbles, causing the bomb to be passed frantically between them like a desperate volley, until Katarina realizes she is now unlucky and bravely takes responsibility by grabbing the bomb and charging toward the approaching gang, resulting in a massive explosion that Andre observes from a distance and interprets as their deaths, leading him to order his men to retrieve the Star of the Sea weapon from the supposed bodies, although in reality, Captain Lei and the others soon find Katarina alive as she had transformed into a snake to survive the blast, only for two massive tanks to arrive and surround them before they can recover. Back at the hotel, Andre waits for 6 hours before the same two tanks suddenly roll up to the entrance. Yet to his shock, Jin's friends are the ones driving them. As Captain Lei steps forward and threatens to destroy the entire hotel unless Jin is released immediately, a brief flashback reveals how they turned the situation around, showing that one of the strange items Jin gave Xiao Yao, the crane cap, which she wore when the tank operators tried to attack, causing them to feel an overwhelming sense of mercy and abandon their hostility. This allowed Katarina, still in her snake form, to take control of the tanks. A flashback reveals that when the leader of the Elite Brotherhood fell seriously ill, he recognized Xu Xiao as the most capable person in the organization and entrusted him with its future, introducing his son, the second young master, and asking Xu Xiao to guide him as the next leader. While another flashback shows how Changshen rose step by step to become the head of the Blood Oath through strength and ambition. Back in the present, both Changshen and Xu Xiao wake to find everyone around them dead, and when the second young master tells Xu Xiao that the Bald Brotherhood has taken the Star of the Sea back to their hotel, Changshen immediately wants to attack, but Xu Xiao mocks his impatience before they agree to work together to reclaim the weapon. At the same time, Jin's friends arrive at the hotel in a heavy tanker to rescue him, and Jin suggests to his captors that they release him so he can convince his team to stop their assault. The group launches their attack after spotting him on the top floor, and Jin ends up falling from the building but manages to escape and regroup with his team inside the tanker, while Captain Lei sends their location to the Dark Knights and insists they must leave the snowfield quickly to secure the Star of the Sea. Before they can escape, Changshen suddenly appears in front of the tanker and slices through its armored body with his weapon, forcing Jin to teleport his friends out just before it is destroyed, while Xu Xiao joins the pursuit and fires a rocket launcher, only for Jin to teleport the projectile away. With Changshen, Xu Xiao, and the second young master closing in, Jin and Captain Lei decide to stand their ground while waiting for the Dark Knights, and during the battle, Xu Xiao shows incredible skill as Jin repeatedly uses teleportation to protect his allies, while Wu Lang and Yingsu also join the fight. Despite facing two powerful gold rank enemies, Jin's group manages to hold them back, earning mutual respect from both Changshen and Xu Xiao, who even offer each other positions in their gangs before deciding to cooperate for now. But just as they try again to seize the Star of the Sea, the battlefield suddenly freezes as an avalanche begins. The group realizes that Andre, empowered by the burning blood, has awakened overwhelming ice abilities that are amplified by the snowy environment. Andre launches massive attacks by forming giant snowballs and hurling them at the tanker while Xiao Yao drives and Jin directs every move, teleporting incoming attacks away while Yingsu uses her fire to thaw frozen parts of the vehicle. And as Andre intensifies his assault and triggers a massive avalanche, Jin uses his spatial power at the last moment to teleport the entire tanker out of danger. Jin decides to draw Andre away and runs in the opposite direction with the Star of the Sea, but Andre attacks from a distance, forming a sharp ice shard that knocks the weapon out of Jin's hand, while preparing an ice storm with his other hand to strike Jin's friends. Faced with a critical choice, Jin chooses to save his friends instead of the weapon and teleports to protect the tanker, allowing Andre to reclaim the Star of the Sea as he mocks Jin's sacrifice. Andre then pins Jin in place by driving a sharp ice shard through his shoulder, leaving him immobilized as the group is scattered. And when Captain Lei rushes to attack, Andre easily overpowers her with a brutal kick. As Andre moves toward Jin, Yingsu runs to him, while the others try to help Captain Lei. And despite the danger, Yingsu refuses to stop as Andre begins absorbing the power of the Star of the Sea, growing even stronger. Jin manages to pull the ice shard from his shoulder and uses his remaining strength to teleport Yingsu away just before Andre strikes, declaring that no one can stand against his true power. Even then, Captain Lei and the others step forward and stand in front of Jin and Yingsu, refusing to back down and choosing to protect him together. Just as Andre prepares to finish them, a sudden attack hits him, revealing that the Dark Knights have finally arrived. But even their combined force is not enough, as Andre overwhelms them alone, proving the terrifying power of the Star of the Sea and his awakened abilities. And meanwhile, Jin collapses and loses consciousness. A flashback shows a young Jin and Yingsu shivering in the freezing cold at an orphanage, where Jin wraps her in a protective cloth and gently tries to stop her from running away, explaining that leaving will not change the harsh reality of their lives, yet he promises that no matter what happens, he will always protect her. As the cold becomes unbearable, Jin collapses into the snow, but in that desperate moment, Yingsu awakens her power and uses it to warm and save him. In the present, Jin regains consciousness and realizes his friends have used the healing items he gave them to stabilize him, and they quickly inform him that Andre has defeated the Dark Knights, captured Captain Lei, and is now heading toward the city using a Dark Knight's aircraft with the intent to destroy everything. Jin tries to contact Captain Lei, but Andre answers instead and mocks him, calling him a stubborn cockroach that refuses to die, then declares he will destroy the city as revenge, and even when Jin urges him to keep the fight between them, Andre threatens to activate the Star of the Sea and wipe out the entire region. Wu Lang suggests calling for help, but the group quickly realizes they are completely cut off with no communication, leaving them with no support, and faced with this, Jin decides to rely on his own abilities and summons a massive helicopter container from his spatial storage, astonishing everyone with the scale of what he can produce. Although Jin admits he has only recently unlocked the ability to pilot it, he still manages to take off and steer the helicopter toward Andre's location, showing unexpected control despite the difficulty, while the group prepares themselves for the coming battle. During the flight, Jin hands out spiritual beads to his friends to strengthen them for the fight ahead, while he consumes a durian fruit to restore and boost his own energy, preparing himself for the final confrontation. As they close in, Andre tries to ram their helicopter with his larger aircraft, but at the last moment, Jin uses his spatial power to teleport himself and his entire team directly into the enemy plane, avoiding the collision entirely. Once inside, Jin orders Yingsu to melt the ice, restraining Captain Lei, and tells Katarina to help her recover with ginseng, then leads the group to confront Andre as he freezes the floor and turns the cabin into a battlefield. A fierce fight erupts in the confined space, and although Jin's friends support him with their enhanced strength, Andre remains overwhelming. And just as Jin prepares a finishing strike, Andre freezes his sword and sends him crashing out through the roof into the sky. Inside, Andre absorbs the power of the Star of the Sea and unleashes freezing attacks, breaking through Wu Lang's shield, but at the last moment Jin teleports back into the plane and immediately teleports Andre out into the open sky. As Andre falls, Jin mocks him for lacking the ability to fly, but the plane itself begins to plummet, forcing Captain Lei to rush to the cockpit and struggle to stabilize it, only for Andre to reappear outside using ice platforms to move through the air and continue attacking. Jin responds by teleporting Wu Lang outside to block the strikes before bringing him back in, while he keeps teleporting the plane to dodge incoming attacks, though the strain soon becomes too much when Andre freezes the engines completely. With godlike power, Andre creates a massive floating ice island in the sky, forcing the plane to crash onto it, and declares himself the ruler of the snowfield as his body transforms into a terrifying form fueled by the forbidden burning blood technique. Captain Lei realizes the danger, and Jin understands they must stop him on their own since no help is coming. Refusing to give up, the group launches a final coordinated attack as Yingsu channels her full firepower into Jin's sword to counter Andre's freezing domain, while Wu Lang and Captain Lei hold back incoming attacks. And Xiao Yao in her wolf form carries Jin and Yingsu at full speed, allowing Yingsu to launch Jin high into the air, sending him straight toward Andre. Jin charges forward and strikes Andre with his fire-infused sword, but Andre blocks it effortlessly, not realizing it is only a distraction as Jin begins absorbing the power of the Star of the Sea alongside him. The burning blood within Jin awakens, flooding him with energy and allowing him to fight Andre on equal terms. And as the battle intensifies, Jin narrowly avoids being frozen by pulling back just in time, while Andre continues manipulating the weapon and eventually traps Jin completely in ice. As Yingsu and the others rush to help, Andre threatens to freeze them as well, but at that moment, Jin shatters the ice from within and breaks free, his silver rank rising mid-battle and granting him a new ability called Black Hole, which he activates immediately, swallowing Andre and destroying him completely. With Andre gone, the ice island begins to collapse, forcing Jin to teleport his friends back into the plane as they escape and fly away while the frozen mass falls into the sea. Although they reach safety and the sky clears beautifully, the Star of the Sea remains unstable due to overuse, and as they approach the city and try to contact the army, they discover the communication system is down, making it clear that if the weapon explodes, the entire region will be destroyed. Captain Lei decides to take the plane to a higher altitude to protect the city and tells everyone else to escape, believing this is where her life should end. Jin refuses to accept that and tells the others to jump with parachutes first, then stays behind and offers one to Captain Lei, claiming he can escape with his spatial power, but she sees through him and insists that a sacrifice is necessary, thanking him for everything. But he suddenly teleports her out of the plane with a parachute and tells her to take care of everyone before returning alone. As the aircraft begins to fall, Jin uses his remaining strength to force it higher into the sky with repeated teleportation. And far below, the people watch in silence as the plane rises, while Jin asks the system if he can survive the explosion and is told the chances are extremely low, making him realize that this may be the end. Jin begins recording a final message for his friends as the plane climbs higher, speaking calmly as he tells Wu Lang that he was like a true brother, sharing kind words with Xiao Yao and Katarina, while telling Captain Lei to continue her path and apologizing to Ying Su as he wishes her happiness, reflecting on how fate kept them apart but how she was always there in his darkest moments. He tells them all they have a bright future ahead and releases the recording into the sky as his friends watch from below, crying out helplessly. Far above, the great Li Mingshan, meditating in the clouds, senses the sudden surge of energy, while Jin wraps himself in his vending cloth like a robe and quietly accepts his fate, hoping to be remembered as someone who protected his people. And in the next moment, the plane explodes in a blinding light that shakes the sky. Time passes after the tragedy, and Katarina reopens Jin's shop to preserve his memory, briefly imagining him returning with food before realizing it is only her friends arriving to support her, while the military later recovers Jin's recording device, and Captain Lei listens to his final words as she receives a serious report from the crash site. In the darkness, a familiar voice calls out to Jin, and as he wakes, he hears Vendi and asks if he is dead or alive, only for the system to tell him that his story is just beginning. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.